guys, Josh from soccerreviewsforyou.com, bringing you a video today to talk about myths, misconceptions, and just general things you should know about high-end soccer cleats slash football boots. I realize that a lot of people watching my channel, especially new viewers, are watching my channel because they're doing their research, mainly because they're going to buy their first high-end pair of shoes. And high-end shoes, as you guys probably know, are quite expensive. So you want to make sure that you're making the right decision. And this is a video that I think is going to help a lot of people out, whether you're buying your first pair of high-end shoes or your 10th pair. There's a lot of things or a lot of information in this video that you might not have been aware of that definitely will influence your buying decision, hopefully in a positive manner. So if you're interested in learning more, please stick around, watch the video, and with that being said, let's get right into it. The first question that I thought I would answer is a very common question that you'll find with anybody who's decided to spend a lot of money on a single pair of shoes. And that question is, which one is the best? If I'm gonna spend the money, I want the best shoes. And the simple answer to that question is the best does not exist. If you think about what the best implies, it implies that you're wearing a pair of shoes that would put you at an advantage in comparison to everybody else who is not wearing the best shoes. And that is just not a thing. No shoe on the market is going to provide a performance advantage for you. Really, soccer shoes are all about preference, and that's something you're going to hear me touch on in this video far too many times. I apologize for that, but at the end of the day, that's really what it's all about. What you like is what's going to be best for you personally. Everyone has their own version of the best. That's why there is so much variety when it comes to soccer cleats. They make a shoe like a Copa Mundial, which is fantastic for somebody who wants a more traditional feel, a very soft, kind of comfortable fit, and of course a padded leather touch on the ball, whereas something like a Superfly 4 is more or less the exact opposite of that. It's a very lightweight construction, a very slim profile, a super thin upper, a mid-cut design. It has a lot of kind of modern elements to it. They're both very good shoes. They're both going to perform the part. Of course, they're very different as well, but they're made for two different types of people with two very different types of preferences. So that's the first thing that you should know if you're going to buy a pair of high-end shoes. There is no best model. If you're buying high-end, for the most part, they're all pretty good. The next huge misconception when it comes to high-end soccer cleats is the idea that high-end soccer cleats will result in better performance. Now, I'm not going to say that every part of that statement is untrue, because there is some validity to what I just said, and I'll explain why in just a second. But largely, that is a statement that is a little bit misleading if you are planning to buy a high-end pair of shoes. What you have to understand is that no shoe is going to enhance abilities or enhance any kind of player attributes slash skills. If you're a good player no matter what shoes are on your feet. The shoes don't possess superpowers. They're not going to make you faster. They're not going to make you more accurate. That's something that, like I said, is ultimately down to the person actually wearing the shoes as opposed to the shoes themselves. Why is this idea even out there in the first place? It has a lot to do with kind of a prestige thing. I think a lot of people are just under the impression that if they spend more money on a product, they're getting a higher end product. And when you're talking about sports equipment, that would obviously equate into better performance. And like I said, there is a very, very small amount of truth to that I'll explain in just a second. But ultimately, if you're good, you're good. If you're not so good, you're not so good. If you're slow, you're slow. If you're fast, you're fast. It really is that simple. No shoe is going to make you a better player or enhance attributes. Another thing that I'm not going to talk about in this video, I have another video dedicated to this topic specifically, is boots by position. And again, this has a lot to do with marketing. These companies are trying to sell you their product, make it as attractive as possible so they can kind of spread out their entire line and make each individual model for a specific player on the field that would, like I said, entice you to buy that particular product. No shoe is best suited for any particular position. At the end of the day, it all comes down to preference. And if you want a video explaining the whole boots by position concept and what you really should know about it, if it does confuse you a little bit, check out the annotation on screen. It'll take you to a video where, like I said, I explain boots by position in very, very good detail. So now that that's out of the way, what is actually improving your performance or your ability to play soccer in a pair of high-end shoes that you wouldn't get in a low-end pair? There are three kind of things in particular that are going to impact your experience with a pair of soccer shoes. The first and probably the biggest difference that you're going to notice from one shoe to another is the stud pattern. Of course, you need to have good traction from your shoes. The second thing that you're going to notice is, of course, the touch on the ball. Every single shoe has a different upper. Every single shoe is there to provide a certain type of feel. And of course, the upper does play a part in the overall stability and general responsiveness, which in turn kind of plays a role in the traction as well. So the traction as well as the upper, huge aspects of any soccer cleat. The final thing that you have to keep in mind is just the general fit and feel. If you're uncomfortable in your shoes, that's probably not a good thing at the end of the day when it comes to performance. And of course, shoes come in different shapes, different types of fits. Some are much tighter than others, some are a little bit wider, some are a little bit more roomy. Again, preference plays a huge role in that particular aspect, but that's really the main reason why soccer shoes exist in the first place, because a regular flat bottom running shoe, for example, is not going to provide the touch you're looking for, it's not going to provide the stability and general fit that you're looking for, and of course, it's not going to provide the traction that you're looking for either. That's why you buy a pair of soccer cleats in the first place. So, from there, what differentiates a low-end soccer shoe from a high-end soccer shoe in those three categories? When you're talking about general touch and feel with the upper, there's going to be a huge difference when you're going from, let's say, an $80 soccer shoe to a $200 soccer shoe. Whether it's leather or synthetic, the quality makes a significant jump going from low end to high end, which isn't going to result in a better touch. It's not going to result in your kind of ability to just feel the ball in general, but what it will do is enhance the experience, and that is what I think should be a really, really big takeaway when it comes to buying a high-end pair of shoes and how you can go about justifying the price. It's really about the experience. A great example of this for those that perhaps drive a car, maybe you've looked at that fancy car, you've looked at a more expensive car, and someone's probably told you, you don't need that fancy car, you don't need that fast car, because ultimately the only reason why you have a car in the first place is to get from point A to point B. And you could really make the same argument for a pair of high-end versus low-end soccer shoes. Those low-end soccer shoes are going to get the job done, but the high-end soccer shoe is ultimately a luxury, and it's something that's going to enhance your playing experience. And that's really one of the best reasons why you should look into a high-end soccer shoe if you really enjoy this particular sport. So we talked about the upper. Again, you're going to notice a huge difference in quality when you're talking about a low-end shoe versus a high-end shoe. The next thing, of course, is fit and feel, and that's again where you're going to notice a big jump. A higher quality upper is generally going to result in better fit and feel, and just like I said, a more comfortable playing experience in general. Ultimately, again, performance is a really, really big, preference plays a really big role here, so you want to make sure that you're getting a shoe that you like the feel of. Again, just going back to that same example that I used earlier, a Copa Mundial is going to fit and feel a lot different than a pair of Superfly 4s, so you kind of have to decide for yourself what type of feel that you like, what type of feel that you're looking for, and that should kind of influence your decision in terms of making certain shoes kind of as contenders in what you're going to buy and just eliminating certain shoes altogether, because there is a lot of variety out there. You have to kind of take away some and include others in your kind of final buying process, I guess is the best way to put it. And then of course, the third thing that is going to impact your performance on the field with your shoes is the stud pattern. And the stud pattern in general, traction, for the most part, doesn't really change when you're going from a low-end shoe to a high-end shoe, but the general stability, the flexibility of the sole plate, the responsiveness of the shoe, that is something that is going to change. And when you kind of incorporate the responsiveness of the upper, the general kind of better, closer to the foot fit that you're going to get from a high-end shoe, that impacts the traction as well in a positive manner. So is your experience better in a high-end shoe versus a low-end one? Absolutely, no question about that. Is it going to in turn result in better performance? Maybe just a little bit, but you're not really being put at any kind of an advantage if you're wearing high-end shoes and the person defending you is wearing a low-end pair. Again, they're all going to perform the same job, just in different ways, and that's really the best way to look at it. Another big misconception when it comes to spending high amounts of money on a pair of soccer shoes is that you're going to get a more durable product, and that is, again, largely untrue. Yes, the quality of the product is better, but when you're talking about performance footwear, especially a soccer cleat, the performance aspect of that shoe has a lot to do with the material that it's made out of. And when you're talking about a shoe that's designed around providing a certain type of feel, like we just talked about, thinner, softer materials are going to offer a better feel for the ball than firmer, stiffer, not so soft materials that you're going to find on a lower end shoe that ultimately might be a little bit more durable in the long run. So when you buy a high-end shoe, you're buying what is considered to be the best of the best from a performance standpoint from that particular company. Is durability taken into consideration? Absolutely. Some shoes more than other, of course, but the general kind of experience of the shoe is more based around performance as opposed to it lasting as long as possible. And if you look at the current modern soccer cleat market, shoes have changed a lot over the last 10 years. People who are a little bit older, who have been around the soccer cleat scene longer, let's just say, myself included, you're gonna know that shoes are not made the same way they used to be. Some will view that as a very negative thing, some will view it as a positive thing, but the one aspect of shoes in terms of how they've changed over the years that you cannot deny is that they've gotten a lot lighter and they've gotten a lot thinner, which in turn results in less durability. If you take away material, if you make the materials that are there thinner and lighter, like I said, it's just not going to hold up quite as well as shoes that were being made 10 years ago, but shoes that are being made 10 years ago isn't what people want today. So in terms of what you can expect from a durability standpoint from your high-end shoes, 1 season, 2 seasons, that's pretty much the life expectancy, and that's given that you use them on the proper playing surface. What you do have to consider though, if you are planning on buying a pair of high-end shoes, is that they do come with a manufacturer's warranty. If you buy a high-end product, it is going to be backed by the company that you purchased it from, not necessarily the store you bought it from, but if you bought a Nike shoe and something goes wrong, Nike's going to back their product. If you buy an Adidas shoe and something goes wrong, Adidas is going to back their product. So should something go wrong prematurely or should something break a little bit sooner than you would have expected, or at least we're hoping, you can contact these companies directly. Just do a quick Google search, contact their warranty department, and they're gonna let you know whether or not they can replace the shoe for you based on what they will deem is a manufacturing defect or not. They seem to be pretty good about that kind of thing, but again, just keep that in mind. When you buy a high-end product, it's going to be backed by the company you purchased it from. So don't really buy a $300 pair of shoes in complete fear that they're going to break on the second day and then you're just out $300. That's not the case. If something does go wrong prematurely, like I said, contact that manufacturer's warranty department and they should help you out with working out a replacement pair. So to answer the ultimate question, are high-end soccer cleats worth the money? That's something you kind of have to determine for yourself. Worth is something that's going to be defined differently based on really your personality, I've found. If you're one of those point A to point B people, you're probably not going to justify a high-end pair of shoes because you realize that, hey, that high-end shoe might be a little bit better, but it's not really better per se. The low-end shoe is going to get the same job done. But if you're an enthusiast, if you really have a passion for soccer shoes, if you really want the best of the best in terms of what's on offer with the latest and greatest technology, the best feel, the best performance per se, and of course, what's ultimately going to be the best experience as well, then yes, a high-end pair of shoes is worth the money. Of course, high-end shoes are between $150 and $300 or so. So again, your budget still plays a factor here, but if you have the money to spend and you can justify spending it on a shoe that you actually want, then yes, they're worth the money. The experience is worth it, I guess is the best way to put it. But if it's not worth it to you, then it's quite simply not worth it. Again, it's kind of something you have to determine for yourself. So that's pretty much it for my video on what you should know about buying a pair of high-end soccer shoes. Hopefully you found this video helpful. If you did, be sure to support it with a like. If you have any questions at all, require clarification, leave them down below in the comment section. I definitely will get an answer out to you. If you know anybody who is perhaps a little bit confused about high-end soccer shoes or is looking to buy a pair, maybe share this video with them. They probably will find it very, very helpful. And that's pretty much it. Subscribe if you haven't already for daily videos on all the latest and greatest soccer gear. You can find all my social media information down below in the description as well. And other than that, guys, hope you enjoyed today's video. And as always, thanks for watching.